A movie where Nicolas Cage plays himself? Yes. Yes, I'm interested in watching this movie. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is a new movie directed by Tom Gormican, and it's written by him and Kevin Etten. It stars Nicolas Cage as a fictionalized version of himself, of course, and Pedro Pascal. And I didn't know what to expect from this movie, but it turns out I have comparisons to another movie I watched recently that was really good, and they have almost nothing in common in terms of like themes and stories. They're just two movies start with a premise, and then they just build off that on and on throughout the whole movie, and it just gave me similar vibes, even though they were completely different experiences. And that would be Everything Everywhere All at Once, and of course this movie. So one of the things it does, like this movie, the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, also mentions a movie a couple of times where I'm like, you know what, I'm going to watch that movie next. So if you've seen this movie right here, and you know what movie they're referencing, don't be surprised when that turns up in, whenever I do it, whenever I watch it. Now, anyway, this movie, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, and Everything Everywhere All at Once, they both gave me similar vibes and bloody long names. Well, Nicolas Cage is a fictionalized version of himself, but all washed up and a bit of a loser. He's getting divorced, his daughter doesn't like him, and he can't get the acting gigs, but he gets this gig just hanging out with this guy in Spain, which is Pedro Pascal, but he doesn't play himself, he's playing a guy named Harvey. And the movie starts off with them just, movie develops into the relationship between Harvey and Nicolas Cage and what that entails. There's a bit of cat and mouse involved, there's a bit of crime elements involved, some action, and they take this simple premise of washed up actor playing himself and hanging out with Pedro Pascal, and they just keep doing more fun, more awesome things with it, just like Everything Everywhere All at Once did. It doesn't quite reach the levels of kind of heart and emotion that Everything did, but in terms of sheer fun factor and awesomeness and the way it's kind of structured, I don't know, they just remind me of each other. Probably the only one who sees that. If you might be watching this going, look, you're crazy, but that's just how I felt watching it. And it's way more of a character piece than you'd expect, especially between Nicolas Cage and Harvey, and they're the highlights of the film. It's just a joy to see both men on screen together, just having an absolute blast. And I would love to see another movie with Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal in it. Man, they have some amazing chemistry. This movie just worked for me. It's funny. It doesn't do a lot of the cliched comedy movie things like, we're not friends anymore. And then the last minute, yeah, we're friends. It doesn't do any of that kind of stuff, which always bugs me in comedies and kids' movies, I guess, as well. So it managed to take me in directions that I'd never expected it to go. And I was along for the ride. There's only one part of the movie maybe that I thought was not a detriment, but the movie wouldn't have lost anything without that element. And throughout the movie, Nicolas Cage will see a version of his younger self back in his heyday, going, oh, you're Nick fucking Cage, you're a superstar, you don't have to do any of this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, if you didn't have those moments, really wouldn't have missed much. This is another case of a movie where I'm glad that it's like the length that it is, but in hindsight, I'd have watched another 5 hours of it. It was just up in my wheelhouse, and I was along for the ride the whole time. So, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I had a fucking awesome time. It was a blast. I wanted more. It's well paced, moves at a steady clip, and it's funny, and doesn't shy away from taking some risks here and there, which is what I appreciate. I really enjoyed my time with this film. It's not quite Everything Everywhere All at Once level, but it's kind of close for me. 9 out of 10. Oh, that makes me happy. I love giving high scores. I know people might want to see a rant or something, I don't know, but I like watching good movies, and this was one of them. Nicolas Cage is just one interesting dude. I've seen him do movies that have the budget level of a fucking shitty Bruce Willis movie. And I've never seen him phone in a performance. You'll get an acting performance out of Nicolas Cage. He's probably always been one of the most interesting actors to kind of revisit and watch. And a movie where he just plays himself. That was a good fucking idea. Well executed. I can't wait to see what Tom Gormican does next. I would happily watch the shit out of it. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Check this movie out if you haven't already. And yeah, tell me, did you feel that similar vibe? Just me?